What's up, everybody? It's your boy Hoop Jargon going with another video. We're going over episode 7 of The Last Dance, and I know if you guys are enjoying it like myself, you just see all the intricacies of Michael Jordan's career. And right now, we're talking about the retirement phase, the first retirement, actually. As you know, he retired 3 times. So, as we saw in 1993, when he retired, the world shook. And one thing I have to really say is some of the people were pretty much saying that Michael Jordan was the best athlete ever, the best basketball player ever, and I'm going to have to call a big cap on that. At this time in '93, where Jordan's been in the league about 9 years, impressive resume: 3 championships, 3 MVPs, but greatest basketball player of all time with Kareem sitting at 6, Magic sitting at 5. Come on, man, no. But you know how it goes. The hype machine is going to boost you up. It's going to take you down. That's just the way it goes. But man, as you see, like during this time, man, people were kind of losing their minds a little bit when Jordan decided he was not going to do it anymore. And a lot of people also were going as far and saying that Michael Jordan retired because, the situation with his father and multiple things because of his father. Like, by his words, he just didn't feel that competitive edge anymore. Now, there are some who assert that his gambling debts and his other extracurricular things costed him his father's life. One thing I've seen, man, I've seen ex quote unquote mob members and what have you speak about this. And one thing I'm able to see is it's just not enough conclusive evidence. I don't see enough to say that, so I'm not gonna roll with that theory. If you want to put your tinfoil cap on, you can do that. But Michael Jordan was the kind of guy, man. He just was good at everything he did. He was an ultimate competitor, and with him winning 3 championships, and actually, let me digress. He actually mentioned to one of his trainers that he actually wanted to retire the year before, but he wanted to win 3 in a row, something that Magic and Larry Bird, that is, weren't able to accomplish. So it just shows you, like, it's a game within a game with Michael Jordan. And so that's something you just have to respect. And that no matter what, he definitely wanted to be the best in his mind, no matter what. And some of you will see a great trait of great individuals is they think it before they do it. And there's nothing wrong with thinking that you're the best. And that's definitely Mike's MO all the way through. And it shows with his transition to his next venture, which, as we all know, was him playing professional baseball. And so this was a promise he upheld to his late father, James, and it's something he always wanted to do. And I guess at this point, when he won 3 championships in a row, something that his peers did not do, he wanted to move on to this. And so I can't get upset at all at it, man. And as we saw, as he transitioned into baseball, he actually won his critics over to start off. He had a 13-game hitting streak in Double A baseball, and if you guys don't know, nobody from a raw talent standpoint just goes to Double A. So from that standpoint, it just was a very, very tantamount to the kind of guy that Mike was. I mean, he would obsess over things. And so once he got his claws into it, then he wanted to be all about it. So again, that 13-game hitting streak to start his career off was nothing to snuff at. And so the problem with that is people start to figure out that Mike was swinging at everything, right? So if you ever played baseball before, one of the first pitches you learn to hit is the fastball once you get your timing down. And so that's what Mike was good at. And then what you start to see after a few at bats, that hitting streak more specifically, is that pitchers start throwing him off speed stuff. And you know how the player Haitian goes. But being a professional athlete, in my former life, you have to challenge people that way. And so it's not a. You almost want the guys to come at you in the best fashion. But as the media will do, once his play starts to dwindle, you start to see them bringing those fangs out, bringing those claws out, and kind of trying to take a pound of flesh out of them, because in basketball, that's something that sports media couldn't do. As we know, they always want to build you up to tear you down. And so at that point, you start to see them trying to make a mockery of his baseball career. And when in reality, as his manager disclosed, guys, he hit 202 and had over 50 RBIs in his rookie year. That's nothing to shake your finger at. That's a pretty good baseball player. That's a pretty solid baseball player. And his words were, some of our prospects that we have coming in who are baseball guys don't give you a rookie season like that. So, again, it just gives you a testament of how good, how naturally gifted Michael Jordan was. And to some people, how underappreciated his whole body of work was. And so I get it from the baseball fan perspective. You want to get the best of the best. You want to get top-notch product. But Michael Jordan overall, it just shows how great he was with his tenure in his tutelage under the Chicago White Sox club system, farm system rather, even though it didn't end the way he wanted. But meanwhile, back in the ranch, as we know, under Michael Jordan's tenure, the Chicago Bulls ran with a tight fist. Mike was bad cop, Scotty was good cop, and now in Mike's absence, the Chicago Bulls were a pretty good team. I mean, I know that sounds kind of a basic praise, but that's what they were. They were a good team, and they showed basically that triangle offense was definitely as proficient as Tex Winter presented to Phil at first. Now, if we remember, the first argument about that was that it's easier to run any offense with a Michael Jordan in it. But this kind of showed how good of a coach that Phil Jackson was, and also showed that even though Scottie Pippen wasn't quite the type of caliber of leader that Michael Jordan was, that he was a leader too. And we saw this later in his iterations, playing for Portland and playing for Houston, that, you know, Scottie could hold his own. But this time there's a lot of doubt. So let's be honest. Let's keep a historical context in place. And that's what we pretty much saw during this time right here. And so one thing I loved about the triangle as well is it was a continuity offense. So you got plenty of movement, you got spacing, you got all those good things, and those guys sharing that ball, it just was great to watch. It was fun to watch, and the Chicago Bulls did thrive and survive in this era when most people thought that pretty much, you know, this was, you know, the death period, the death sentence, you know what I mean? Then came the not so pretty part. One of the things of being a leader is understanding the whole totality, understanding that winning trumps all, and that's something that Scottie had to learn. So as the aforementioned Tony Kukoc started to get his game going, Pippen took notice. And what Pippen did was something that was very much what no leader should do, and that's quit on their team. And as we come to find out about Tony Kukoc, he had a propensity to hit clutch shots. That was his thing. And so Phil had drawn up a play playing the Knicks. Tony Kukoc finished the game out, and he drew a play for him instead of giving the ball to Scottie. And Scottie did not like that one iota, man. He asked to go back in the game, and Scottie just basically said no. And if you ever play basketball, when you have a selfish moment like that, I'm not going to front. If you do that, you kind of want the team to lose so they can show that, oh, you should have had me out there. But now what happened? Tony Kukoc ended up hitting the game winner. And this made big-time news, man. Scottie Pippen looks so bad on this situation here, man. And I hate it for him. But at the same time, I don't understand what his logic was, because if you remember, they asked him about it, and he said that, you know, basically that's something he should have done. But if he would do it again, he would do it again. So I don't understand. So I get he's saying he wanted to send a message to Phil, and his message was sent. However, I think that was very much at the detriment of his legacy. I don't think that was a smart decision at all. You know, Pips, again, this time, he's putting up 22, 9, and 6. Making buckets. He is the alpha of that team, even though, in my opinion, he's more of a beta type of player. But that's just not the way you go about it, man. If you remember, again, in the locker room, Bill Cartwright gave a heartfelt speech, and he cried. And that's a guy who wasn't much of a vocal leader, but everybody respected Bill Cartwright. And when he came at him like that, Scottie really knew that he messed up, man. And so I'm not the kind of guy that's going to castigate you forever for making a flawed moment in your career. A blemish is a blemish, but I'm not going to, kill him for that. But at the same time, that was a very bad look for Scottie Pippen, man. I from a high character guy like that, and having the news front have to all speak about it, that's just something you wouldn't expect from a high character guy, let me say that, like Scottie Pippen. So, these kind of things just define your career, man. It's unavoidable, man. You have 5 personalities out there, 12 personalities out there, including the bench. You're going to have these little faux pas. And so it's good that Scottie got over this and he was able to improve. And this year in the All-Star game was just the icing on the cake to show you again how good Scottie Pippen was. And if you don't know, he was the MVP of the 93-94 All-Star game. And Scottie got buckets, man. And him and it's also Shaq's coming out party as well. And so those two had really good synergy out there on the floor. I almost left you to wonder, man, like what if Penny went to Orlando or something, man? That would have been fun to watch. Him, Penny Hardaway, and Shaquille O'Neal. That would have been like a perfect trio of collective talent. But a man can dream, right? But again, showing how good Scottie Pippen was in comparison to Michael Jordan, it just shows, again, his leadership skills weren't quite up to snuff about, equating to who Mike was. I mean, because Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. I mean, who can say that they are that same type of person? And Scottie just led in his own way. And one thing I like about his game is he was very much the guy to share the ball. He very much was the guy to take defense seriously. And as we can see in the clip, he took defense as seriously as he did his offense. And he was very proficient on the offensive end. And I gave you the stat line of 22, 9, and 6. That just wasn't a testament about his whole body of work and what type of player he was. And it shows itself today with the dual threat guys like Kawhi Leonard, guys like Paul George, guys like LeBron James, that Pippen was pretty much the grandfather of that style of play and still being proficient on that offensive side of the ball. So not to be confused with guys like Danny Green, Bruce Bowen, Ruben Patterson, the quote-unquote Kobe stopper, who, you know, were very much proficient on defense, but more or less 3-and-D guys. These are dual threat guys who could give you that headache on defense, but also give you that headache on offense. And so I think it's great that they highlight this for Scottie Pippen and showing that, you know, the totality of the player that he was, and to show that, again, being that all-star MVP and deservedly getting that credit that he definitely deserved. Let's not get it twisted. Scottie was no Mike. And if you need any further proof than that, just look how Mike chose to end this segment about leadership, man.
When people see this, they're going to say, well, he wasn't really a nice guy. He may have been a tyrant. Oh, well, that's you, because you never won anything. I wanted to win, but I wanted them to win and be a part of that as well.